In September of 2009, a 12-year-old named Kyle boarded a roller coaster with his father. The pair were excited to ride the extremely popular coaster with one another, but little did they know, only 4 seconds into the ride, their enthusiasm would turn to sheer horror. This is Horrible Fates Caught on Camera, the Xcelerator Roller Coaster Disaster. Welcome to The Cellar. Knott's Berry Farm is a 57-acre or 2.5 million square foot amusement park that is located in Buena Park, California. Buena Park is a city in northern Orange County, California. It is located around 20 miles southeast of Los Angeles and has a population of around 84,000 residents. Knott's Berry Farm is owned and operated by Six Flags. The park is very popular, seeing upwards of 4 million visitors a year. The park had a very modest beginning. It was at first nothing more than a roadside berry stand that was run by Walter Knott along State Route 39. Heading into the 1940s, restaurants and shops had been constructed within the property. By 1968, the area had grown into a full-blown amusement park. In 1997, the park would be sold to Cedar Fair for around $300 million. By 2024, Cedar Fair and Six Flags would agree to and further complete an $8 billion merger, creating the largest amusement park operator in the world. Those visiting Knott's Berry Farm will be treated to over 40 rides, including roller coasters, family rides, dark rides, and water rides. In today's story, we will be looking at one of those 40 rides in particular, the Xcelerator Roller Coaster. The Xcelerator is a steel-launched roller coaster that took patrons on their first thrilling rides back on June 22, 2002. It was manufactured by Intamin and designed by Werner Stengel, costing $13 million to make and becoming the company's first ever hydraulically launched coaster. To give some more insight, a hydraulically launched roller coaster initiates a ride with high amounts of acceleration via one or a series of linear induction motors, linear synchronous motors, catapults, tires, chains, or other mechanisms employing hydraulic or pneumatic power along a launch track. This mode of acceleration powers many of the fastest roller coasters throughout the world, displaying improved speed and acceleration when compared to more traditional roller coasters that use chain or cable lifts. The Xcelerator launched its passengers at speeds up to 82 miles per hour or 132 kilometers per hour. It's able to reach these speeds extremely fast, taking no more than 2.3 seconds. The coaster also reaches a height of 205 feet or 62 meters. The Xcelerator is a 50s-themed roller coaster with specially crafted shells on each train, making them look like 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air convertibles. That now brings us to September 16, 2009. 12-year-old Kyle Wheeler, as well as his father Russell and mother Anita, decided to visit Knott's Berry Farm. The family were from Weaverville, North Carolina. Weaverville is a town in Buncombe County, North Carolina, and is part of the Asheville metropolitan area. The town is about a 2.5-hour drive northwest of Charlotte, North Carolina. The family would arrive at Knott's Berry Farm, and they proceeded to spend a large portion of the day trying out different rides. Their day couldn't have gone much better. It was now a little before 4 p.m. in the afternoon, and Kyle and his father Russell decided to get in line for the Xcelerator roller coaster. After waiting in line, they would proceed to board the coaster at around 4 p.m. Kyle and his father would snag the front row seats, while his mother watched the two from the sidelines. After some safety checks, the coaster was all set to begin. Now, as I said before, these hydraulic coasters are fast, and they get up to speed within mere seconds. Soon the coaster would begin, reaching up to 80 miles per hour. At around 4 seconds into the ride, one of the launch cables would snap. When it did, it whipped towards the front of the train car that Kyle and his father were riding in. The cable would hit the front of the coaster and split the fiberglass car straight in half. I will now play you all the video of the incident. Overall, it was a terrifying incident, as Anita Wheeler, who was watching when it all occurred, was certain she had just witnessed her husband and child lose their lives in a horrifying manner. After the cable snapped, the coaster would not gain enough momentum to clear the initial drop. This caused the coaster to roll back towards the start point, and luckily, the ride operator recognized quickly that something had gone wrong. The ride operator would immediately stop the ride, as Kyle was trying to keep his composure, but was also in absolute agony. Kyle's father would frantically wave down staff for help. Kyle Wheeler, as well as another patron on the ride, would be immediately transported to a nearby hospital. Kyle had suffered severe injuries, as the severed cable had lashed into Kyle's left calf and debris had been sprayed into his father's face. As the hospital attended to Kyle, an investigation was soon underway into what exactly went wrong with the roller coaster. According to Knott's Berry Farm, they claimed that they regularly maintain the coaster. Also, the cable that had snapped was supposed to have been good for a full year, and according to the park, it had been changed in December of 2008, meaning it wasn't due to be changed for another few months in December of 2009. After a 6-month investigation into the incident, the findings would conclude that both the park and manufacturer of the coaster were at fault. The entire incident could have been prevented if the coaster had been checked and maintained as regularly as it was supposed to have been. According to reports, the instructions for maintenance from the manufacturer were confusing, which led the park to believe that they only had to inspect the ride every 6 months. But according to the manufacturer, they should have been inspecting it once every month. It was also found that the park was around 19 days overdue for their 6-month inspection of the ride, and if they had done this inspection, they very well would have recognized that the cable needed replacement. In the end, the cable was found to have been very worn out, and a simple inspection would have prevented this horrible accident. For Kyle Wheeler, well, his life was changed forever. In the end, he would survive the ordeal, but he would need to spend months in the hospital. Kyle would undergo multiple surgeries to repair muscle damage to his leg and graft skin over his injuries. The operations were then followed by physical therapy to try and restore function to his left knee and ankle. The entire ordeal was extremely hard on the Wheeler family, but Kyle stayed strong, eventually moving from a wheelchair to crutches, then from crutches to a knee brace, and I am happy to share that Kyle is now able to walk on his own again and seems to be making a full recovery. During all of this, the family would rack up thousands and thousands of dollars in medical bills. Also, Kyle is not completely out of the woods, so to speak, as he will need to have another surgery later in life to remove all the scar tissue that has built up. Following the incident, the Wheeler family hired a lawyer and filed a lawsuit against the park. Ultimately, in 2011, the park and the Wheeler family would come together and agree on a confidential settlement. In a lot of incidents like this one, the parks tend to settle and pay the family a substantial amount of money. Although with it being confidential, we simply don't know how much they were given at the end of the day. Luckily, no one involved in today's story lost their life. As I've stated in prior videos, profits tend to be put above safety, and far too often these amusement parks put their guests at risk due to their shortcuts and shortcomings. Knott's Berry Farm would be forced to implement new safety standards within their rides. And hopefully, no one else in the future will ever have to suffer like Kyle Wheeler and his family did. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode. If you enjoy the content, please hit that like and subscribe button. It helps the channel continue to grow. Also, if you want to make sure you don't ever miss a new upload, you can turn on the bell notification after you subscribe. In the description box below, you'll find a link to my merch store and a link to the Cellar Dwellers membership tier for the channel. If you're interested, please take a moment to go check those things out. If you'd like to submit your own scary story or any kind of story recommendation, you can do so using the email I have linked in the description box below. As always, I do all the research, writing, recording, and editing for the channel myself, so anything that you do to support this channel is greatly appreciated. And until next time, I will see you all again when we head back into the cellar.